Welcome everyone to our workshop on green MENA actors in the fields of agriculture, land, and food security. I am Maha Yassin, an independent researcher and a climate fellow at the Institute of Regional and International Studies in Sully, and I will be moderating this workshop. In today's session, we aim to showcase the work of 4 excellent green local actors from the region. We also want to present narrative that challenges the realities we see in the media, and we want to hear about the future that green MENA actors envision. This workshop is organized by the Greater Middle East Platform, which is an independent Dutch foundation of experts with close personal connections to the Arab world and North Africa. The objective of the foundation is to humanize the presentation of this part of the world through policy advice and dissemination of knowledge. Green MENA is one of the foundation's longer-running project. It aims to make green actors central in Dutch aid and trade relations. Since 2020, Green MENA project built a database of 700 sustainable organizations, activists, farmers, and researchers. The project also tries to support networking and knowledge sharing between green actors within the MENA region. This session is the third and final one of a short series of online meetings, replacing a workshop we planned in Beirut, but unfortunately we had to cancel because of the war in Gaza. We, of course, stand in solidarity with the people of Gaza and their rightful demands of freedom, peace, and fair access to the resources of their lands. After all, there cannot be environmental justice without human rights. We are all affected by the atrocities unfolding in Palestine, and we hope for a ceasefire soon. But we still decided to carry on with the meetings as we feel it's crucial to focus on the very different narrative in the Middle East, that is the stories of our partners who collaborate to construct, nurture, and reap the fruits of their labor in harmony with the humanity. This discussion will last for 1 hour, and we will take questions from you at the end of the 4 presentations. In the meantime, please feel free to post your questions or comments in the chat box. With that note, I would like to welcome our first speaker from Morocco. Omar Haji is a regenerative design educator and the founder of Marrakesh Organics, which is an agroecology farm, a demonstration site, and environmental education center in Marrakesh. He has an academic background in philosophy and sustainable development and over 10 years of regenerative design education and farm management experience. Omar, would you like to tell us more about Marrakesh Organics, the main challenges and possibilities of your work and the project, and how can this work be supported? The floor is yours.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Maha, for the introduction. I'm going to do a screen share so I can open my presentation. Okay. Right here. Okay, can everybody see the presentation?
It's starting. Yeah, now we see it.
Okay. So Marrakesh Organics is a family farm that my grandfather started. And when he passed away, rahimahullah, in 2013, I had a very big connection with him, and I felt like I had to finish his legacy. That's what drawn me to take over the farm. And so we started Marrakesh Organics in 2014, mainly to revive a die-in olive orchard of about 600 trees Alhamdulillah, ever since, we've done a great job in regenerating it. The trees have like multiplied by 5 in size and production, and it's a healthy ecosystem. So the project kind of grew and diversified, and we didn't just do agriculture. I was very interested in natural building, architecture. And right now, it's actually a very important subject in Morocco because of the recent earthquake. We do a lot of workshops in natural building. We also are interested in human well-being. So we've done anything from mindfulness workshops to yoga and anything related to well-being. But our main focus really always comes back to agriculture, and especially water harvesting in drylands, and anything relating to food sovereignty, seeds, and regeneration of soil. Our project, because it's very difficult to make it in agriculture in the beginning, especially starting on a very difficult soil, we had to include ecotourism. So there was an ecotourism part, and we used to host different groups from different parts of the world, universities. We would have one-day workshops, 1 week, and sometimes even 1 month long workshops. So we did that from 2014 to about the time of COVID. And that's where the switch kind of happened, because we could no longer do much ecotourism because of the pandemic. And it was actually a blessing in disguise, because I got back to designing farms and going back to agriculture and setting up farms for other people. So that opened me up to many parts of Morocco. We did many beautiful projects. I will show you some photos in a sec. This is actually the vision. So it's okay to start and finish with the vision. This is a Moroccan village in the Atlas Mountains, not too far from Marrakesh. And this is kind of the vision I have, to get as many rural villages as possible, to restore their soils, have an efficient water management strategy. And this is actually one of the few that's left that still has enough fertility to support the population. What we're seeing more and more is people leaving these rural villages, going to cities, overcrowding cities, and the main reason is really water scarcity. So it's not that I think people oftentimes exaggerate, like we're living through droughts that are unprecedented. We've had similar droughts in the 80s, and we've always periodically had this kind of droughts, and people were resilient enough to find solutions. I know that it's really difficult because of climate change and also heat waves, but we still have hope. And I think it's just about equipping people with the right knowledge and techniques to make a decent living out of agriculture. So my focus has been mainly in the past 3 years working with the people who are usually from the cities that want to have farms, like usually 40 minutes away from a big city like Rabat, Casablanca, Marrakesh, and they just buy land and they don't really know how to develop it. And so we give them a finished product in about 6 months from A to Z, with irrigation system, plantations, terraforming if there is a steep slope. So we kind of got specialized in making terraces, and I'll show you some photos. So one of the main and most important techniques we use is water harvesting. That's what we start with. You can see here that there is a shape that follows contour lines, and that's how we capture water. That's the design that's gonna help us plant our trees and aromatics and shrubs and so on. So this is an example of a farm that was already established, but it did not take care of its topography. So we just came in and try to fix that, because this is a valley and all the water just taking all the soil. And if we left that for another couple of years, most of that soil would have become kind of like a ridge. So this is the work we do. It's terracing with a machine that's called a motor grader. And I know it's not very ecological because it's a big machine and it will create compacted soils. But then for us, like, it would take 20 people many months to do something like this. And with the machine, we're able to do it in 5 days. So I think technology can be useful when the ecological benefits over a long term are going to be so much worth it. You know, the amount of water we're going to be able to harvest because of this. You know, it's even what permaculture also advises, is that it's not problematic to use fossil fuels when we're doing ecological services like these. This is another project we did recently, and you can also, I hope the quality of the photo is good enough to see the different terraces. For this project, we're even getting water runoff from the main road, like the asphalt, and whenever there's a good rain event, the water would enter. And you see where the end of the stairs is? That's an acequia, that's a sakia. It's a waterway. And there's many waterways, each terrace has one of them, and they will be able to irrigate the whole farm just with the water runoff if there is like a thunderstorm or and so this is kind of the main thing that we do, is really design for water, because it's becoming more and more rare. But we also noticed that rain, instead of having like 8 or 10 rain events in a year that are like mild, we are seeing a pattern of like just 3 rain events that are big, like 60 millimeters. And most soils are not ready to receive that kind of water events. And instead of actually benefiting from that rain, it ends up taking our soil and causing erosion and nutrients leaving our land. So that's why we kind of specialized in this terrace work. And yeah, people call us specifically for this kind of work, because nobody kind of made a link between using some civil engineering machinery, which is usually used for roads, to actually design farms. So we're very happy with the results. When I talk to agronomists, this is a 3-hectare farm that's surviving with 6 tons of water, 6 cubic meters of water per day. That's how much the well gives. Well, when in agronomic terms, a hectare usually needs about 10 cubic meters. So we're actually 5 times less water than the norm. Of course, when we planted the trees, they all had a good layer of mulch. There was charcoal as well, some terracotta, and we added what is called compost tea, which is a microbiology kind of brew that's very rich in beneficial microbes to kind of boost these trees. So yeah, that's some of the work we're doing. This is working with cover crops. So the first module that we talked about is water and water harvesting. The second most important is how to build soil. And building soils in dry lands is really challenging because you need a long enough kind of rainy season. In Europe, it's usually like 6 months or 8 months where they have either snow or rain. So that water allows for the humus to form. In our climates, if we're lucky, we have 4 months of humidity of water season, and it's just not enough to build humus. So it takes us a very long time to regenerate soils. So we're trying to we're working with universities, really trying to figure out how can we organize the crop rotations so we can grow some cover crops that we can lay down, like you see in the photo, as mulch, that's going to decompose, that's going to be inoculated with the right microbes to start turning that biomass into soil. And also it's a protective layer, so the mulch keeps the water from evaporation, and so on. So we're also using drought-tolerant seeds, because we should not just talk about we're not getting enough water. We should also find the right seeds that are able to survive with this kind of water. And when you look at most farmers, and I believe most of the Arab world is having the same problem, the rest of the world actually, is our seed collection has been diminished to such a small genetic diversity. So in Morocco, most people are still doing, planting an American kind of wheat. Alfalfa usually comes from Canada or Australia. So we're planting the wrong seeds that need so much water. So no wonder we're not having good crops. So seed saving is really key. And as you can see, it's a holistic solution. There's no just one module that we should focus on. I mean, we should be working on developing the right seeds, working on research with universities,
Yes.
water, and so on.
Amar,
Yes.
that's very interesting, but maybe if you can wrap up so we can move on to it.
Yeah. That's the last photo.
Yeah.
I would maybe talk about how our work can be supported. I mean, to support us,
minute.
really.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
In 1 minute, if possible.
Sure. Yeah, you can visit us. You can, if you're an expert in any field that can be useful for us, we definitely need expert advice. And yeah, it's gonna take a lot of different people from different disciplines to find holistic solutions to this climate problem that we're dealing with. But yeah, I have a lot of hope, and there's a lot of goodwilling citizens doing amazing work. It's just a matter of us coming together and yeah, taking the conversation further.
Yes, thank you very much, Omar, and thank you for sharing this beautiful project. And I can see that how water scarcity is central to your work. With that note, I would like to welcome our next speaker from Palestine, who focuses mostly on water issues. لؤي الأطرش studied water and environmental engineering and did a master engineering under the title Environmental Effects resulting from seawater desalinization. He has 9 years of experience working in the field of water and environment in Palestine. He is the chairman of the Arab Youth Green Voices Network, a non-profit civil society network. Hello, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Maha. And thank you, Sylvia, for this opportunity to be here and to share my knowledge and my experience, and all of especially my experience with the Arab Youth Green Voices. Before starting, I would like to highlight some important information. 19 countries out of 23 countries in the Arab region already faces water scarcity. So they are under the poverty line of the water. So 19 of our countries already, they know water. As Omar mentioned before, maybe the water is the main challenge for the agriculture and for the land. So if we really not secure our water resource, we will not have enough agriculture, enough land, enough crops for our population. Mainly in the maybe also another important information that information that 85% of the fresh water is going for agriculture, and even though there is really no food security in our region, so most of the our food is already imported from outside, and even we consume a lot of water to do that. So today I would like to talk about my initiative. To be honest, I will talk about two. The first one, it will be the Arab Youth Green Voices. And we are a group of the talented Arab youth in the Arab region. We are from 14 countries in the region. We are together decide to establish this network. This network, it's focused mainly about the climate change and also the topic of water and food, because I think the three topics is already related to each other. Of course, if we add the energy to them, so the nexus, it's already related to each other. So what we are doing in our network, we are maybe the main thing is connected to the agriculture. We are asking the youth people from the several Arab countries who have really initiative or entrepreneurship or entrepreneur or have any project already related to agriculture. And indeed, we have a lot, maybe mainly we have 10 or 12 members of our network already have a project related to the agriculture. I will just share a few of them quickly. And of course, one of them already attending this session with us, Ghunwa Qataya from Lebanon. She have a project about the biochar. Already Omar also say that they use the charcoal for optimize the soil and also optimize consuming the water. So our colleague Ghunwa from Lebanon, she produced a new methodology by recycle the food waste to biochar. Of course, it's a complicated project. I will not go deeply for that, but the idea in the end, we have this biochar, and this biochar, it can be used for the soil, and this can be optimized the food production. Also we have a project from Oman, for example, about the bed dries bed. Sorry, it's kind of a treated wastewater in a big place and just treated based on nature-based solution, and then this water can used also for green spaces and surrounding and also for agriculture. To be honest, there is a lot of projects already implemented in the Arab region, and this is why we are asking them to be with us as Arab Youth Green Voices, because together, if we combine all of these projects and implement it and share this knowledge with the others in Morocco, in Tunisia, in Palestine, in Jordan, in Lebanon, and really learn from this experience and learn from this project, then we can really optimize our lands. We can optimize our agriculture sector. Because as I mentioned, I don't know if I mentioned or not, because 54 millions of the people of our population in the Arab region already under the poverty lines. So that's why we need to fight together to have to have this, and this is our initiative. Of course, we are maybe the most important things also how to convince the people surrounding to back to agriculture, to back to the green spaces. So we are also one of our target is to talk to the people in Arabic, especially in Arabic. You know, most of the research, most of the knowledge shared surrounding the word, it's in English or in another language. Unfortunately, even us as an expert, as a young expert surrounding the word, we talk to each other in English, or we share in LinkedIn, in all the social platforms, we only share in English. So the people who living in the rural area, the people who living in a lot of places in our countries, they will not be aware about what we are doing, what we are trying to do, what can be really beneficial for them. So we try to talk to those people in Arabic, and just to talk about maybe COP and all. I will not go to talk about the COP, but we observe in COP 27. It will not make sense to talk to the government. So the idea is to start from the bottom, talk with the people about the climate change, about the agriculture, about the water sector, the water scarcity. And if we really succeed to convince the people from the bottom and share with them the right practices and the right knowledge with them, I think after that we can succeed to have our Arab world better. Yeah, you know, I don't have many things to talk about agriculture. Maybe in the end, I will just only share a small, like 1 or 2 picture, if you allowed me. I don't know if you see my screen now or not. Yes. Yes. So those that talented Arab young people. So be sure each one of them already have something to add for the agriculture sector. And of course, if he add or she add to water, that means they already add to the agriculture system. Here, when we met in COP again, and maybe later on, I will talk to you why it's important for us as Arab to participate in this big event. Maybe it's not the time to discuss that, but later we will discuss. Here, just quick, I will share in the chat just about the social media platform, so then you can reach to us as Arab Youth Green Voices. And here, the last thing, it's my project where I am working now in Palestine. It's kind of small wastewater treatment plant. It's decentralized. It's a small one. It's called Blue Elephant. I know this is like maybe a crazy name. It's more or less about, or the idea is coming from the Africa that the elephants there try to, like, you know, get the polluted water from the earth and then just had it, and then someone have this idea. So and we make our project or our initiative called Blue Elephant. So the Blue Elephant, it's a small, it's like treated 6 cubic meter per day. So it's a small, you can locate it everywhere, every place. It's only 2 multiple 2 space, needed just 2 multiple 2 meters space. So you can locate it everywhere. Why we are like, again, we are talking again about the water scarcity. We are establishing in Palestine because really we have a huge scarcity water here. So we believe that this kind of treatment plant can support by first thing by treated this water, and this water can meet all the standards of water that can use for agriculture. Yeah. And unfortunately, the last things, and I will finish. Unfortunately, in most of the Arab countries, we really observe that most of the Arab countries not use the treated water for agriculture. And I think we need to rethink again how we can really meet the standards that already put by the government, and to use this water or this for agriculture, because this is the only resource. If we go 10 years more, so in 2000, maybe 35, we will really, there is no water resource, just few. So we need to look again and think again if we really can use this wastewater treatment.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much, Louay, and I'm proud of the initiative that you started with the youth. And I also maybe at the end want to ask you about how the political actors, let's say, or officials interact with this youth, and how do you experience this, the acceptance or not, or the collaboration? Now we move on with another excellent green MENA actor from Tunisia, MENA Network. I hope that I said the last name correct. She's an agriculture and forest engineer, activist, researcher, podcaster, producer, and currently she is coordinating ARI Food Links program at Harvest organization in Tunisia. MENA focuses on agriculture, food sovereignty, and climate justice. MENA, floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Maha, for this introduction. Actually, my name is MENA Mornegi. It's easier to write it in Arabic than in Latin words. And I really want to thank you again, Sylvia, and all Green MENA Network for making this moments possible again, even if we couldn't meet, because a lot of inspiring information and experiences that I got from only 2 presentations. It's like a lot, and we definitely need to exchange again. So talking about myself, I did prepare some presentation, but I think I'm not gonna do it because I don't have a lot of pictures to show. So I hope you are seeing this picture. So it was myself in last June in a city called Kisumu. It's on the Lake Victoria borders, and it's in Kenya. And it was in a food market. I really wanted to share with you this picture because it illustrates what I am and what I always want to do, is like mixing both African and Arab identities, having always Al-Kufiyya with me while doing food field work in African countries or African cities. So what I will stop sharing because I mean what I do now is I coordinate a project on Tunis. It's called Afri-Food Links project. It's about urban food system. This project is aiming to improve food and nutrition security while delivering positive outcomes for climate and environment, but also to build socio-ecological resilience in a lot of African cities. We're aiming to do that by promoting the public shift to sustainable, healthy diets, by also transforming urban food environments through real-world socio-technical experiments, and then by promoting the multi-actor local food governance. What does it mean? It means like, as we met in the last time I was working as a journalist, I was writing a lot about social movements, especially farmer social movements, climate justice issues. I shifted now to actually work on another area, which is the urban food systems. We also talking about food sovereignty. It's about food production. It's about relationship to the dynamics between rural and urban areas. And I was like, let's act on urban areas. I mean, the context we are now is like access to food is really framed by a complex and structural food dependency. It's all over Tunisia, talking about local experiences, really rural experiences, or on a macro level. It's the structural food dependency which is running it all. We, as Omar and Luay said, we import most of our food, we import most of our seeds, and we don't have the sovereignty around what we want to eat, about quality and quantity. And what happens what happened, I mean, the last 4 or 5 years. I mean, the two-world crisis was really illustrating that. We currently, in the Tunisian context, we are struggling to have access to basic food products because we don't have access to the, as a southern country, as an Arab and African country, we don't have access to global markets as equal or as in just a situation as the other northern countries. So the other point is, yeah, I mean, climate change is really hitting. And I wanted to talk about COP, but the thing is, you talked a lot about water scarcity. I mean, the droughts in Tunis is 4 or 5 years of droughts. We are really, I mean, we have water cuts. Everyone is struggling. The government itself is struggling how to shift its strategy about how to use our existing natural resources. So this is the context that made me really want to focus on a macro level, not really like your inspirational work focusing on really targeted and local initiative. My work focuses a lot on research, how to make the city produce at least a percentage of its own food. We are now planning to have some pilots, real world socio-technical experiments about roofs gardening, school gardening, about supporting the few existing farmers in a 100% urbanized area, which is Tunis, the capital of Tunisia. This is the most of me, what I'm doing, but I think it's not also about my work. I mean, as you know, and as I really want to emphasize on again, like as a young woman, I like to define myself that I belong to the revolutionary youth, شباب الثورة. And what I focused also on with small political groups to strengthen and to support and to build the capacity of the right holders, farmers, women working in agriculture, people who are directly affected by pollution, by droughts, by I mean, every kind of the impact of climate change, and also the impact of the political, I mean, the policy of the government policy, who is really focused on using the natural resource in order to export the most of our added value products, which is olive oil and dates. And we're using all the soil fertility or the water resources in agriculture. Like I say, it's 85% for agriculture, but which agriculture? A monoculture intensive agriculture that is aimed to be exported to have money to be able to import wheat. So the thing is, I really joined Lu'ay about we need to do the field work should be to support and to strengthen the grassroots social movements, the everyday social movement, the right holders, to talk in them in Arabic also, but to be able to raise awareness around why exactly this system is creating their poverty and is making their vulnerability really big, in order to just, I mean, not to provide social justice for everyone.
Yes.
So
yeah,
I will finish with the last idea about this gathering is really important because we all can support each other. I mean, we all individually, as a group, as I mean, colleagues and friends were talking, and I was like, we need to have, as we aim to do in Beirut, in Lebanon, to visit Jocelyn work. we need to have some exchange visited. I really wanted to see what Omar is doing and what's the techniques and why and where he get the research, the expertise, the technical expertise. And I'm like, we are aiming to do some urban gardening, or to use school few gardens to actually produce food. And I really would need Omar to exchange with me his expertise about how to make soil more fertile. And yeah, I mean, more collaboration with us, networking on our, we have to converge our actions. Because we all are doing really amazing and inspiring things in our locality, in our context, but we have it to somehow to converge everything. Social movements and civil society are meeting around every year around the COP to try to be heard in the official negotiation and what is going on there in the official things. But we need to create another parallel annual gathering. A South annual gathering, an Arab annual gathering, maybe African and Arab annual gathering that really dealing with that COP démarche. And we need to create our own spaces and our own narrative. We can choose our own dates. It's not gonna be, it doesn't have to be parallel in COPs, but the thing, the dream would be to have an annual gathering about how to converge everyone's effort and everyone's action.
Yes.
And the floor is yours, Maha.
Thank you, Amna. Really inspiring, and this is indeed what the Green MENA Network is trying to do, is that sharing this expertise that is happening on the ground. It is a smaller project, because I also believe these are the drivers of change, not like these big conferences and meetings, but also showcasing your work, which can be inspiring for other people to enter the field and expand it. Now we move to another amazing project by Jocelyn Feikadi. She is the founder and director at Recycle Lebanon, catalyzing a system change to recycle our linear mindset towards circular action. The four programs of this Lebanese NGO include Regenerate Hub, EcoSug, Theropods, and Dive into Action. Jocelyn currently lives off-grid in a rural village of Baskinta, Lebanon, where she stewards the land, developing theropods, regenerative agriculture, art residency, and eco-design makerspace. Jocelyn, the floor is yours.
Hello. Thank you all for having us. It's always a pleasure, Silva and Vanessa, to be part of this network and to be together with all of you again. And I'm really excited to be able to show you what we have been very busy doing this last year. I'm going to try to do a quick screen share. Who can share? It's not letting me share.
Are you the host as well, or the co-host?
Who can share? All participants. Who can start sharing? All participants, and then it doesn't let me go to the share screen.
Silva, maybe.
Just now, it just opened.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, we see it.
Okay. So I'll just do a very brief intro of what is Recycle Lebanon. We don't recycle garbage. It's about recycling the mindset to drive action. And we have these four programs that Maha introduced. And currently what we're working on right now is the Regenerate Hub data mapping to create open source access to data to identify the challenges in nature-based alternatives. We have the EcoSug, which is the Middle East Zero Waste Shop. It's a joke. Of course, we're not the first. If we go back into our cultural heritage practices, we all bought fellet, which was prepackaged, bulk, refillable, where you return the bottle. And we are now working on pteropods, so I'll give you a great presentation about that today, but it's an agroecology farm with an arts residency and a biodesign makerspace lab, and we're starting step by step, so I'll take you on to this journey. Let's see, one moment. Slideshow. Okay. Sorry, I have puppies at home. All right. Somehow projects start with life and death, as Omar, he had his project from the passing of his grandfather, Allah yarhamu. And I had been searching for land for about 5 years, and upon the passing of my brother, my father offered me to restore ancestral heritage lands last year. And I am very blessed to be able to go back to the village and to, I'm gonna go outside, sorry everyone, because the puppies are crying, one moment. So this is the land in Baskinta, and these are the views. It's very steep and has really old historical stories of how my grandfather used to walk from this house that I'm living in now, all the way through the village up into the land. And I had to find the old footpath, the old ancestral footpath. It took me about 2 weeks to know where did my grandfather walk by foot, because I don't drive and I also had to walk by foot. So the photos I'll show you are my journey this year of going from 6 a.m. through the forest onto the land and to manage the redevelopment and the restoration of the project. So this is the before and this is the after. And sorry, my dog really wants out. And this is the before and a lot of the after, so that we could lay the foundation, mark the boundaries. And if you can see here in the photograph, the land is so entirely steep. So as Omar was saying, it's a lot about restoration of the terraces and to be able to work in agriculture through those methods. But there's a beautiful treasure on this land, and it's an old abo. So this building was shared between my grandfather and his siblings, and so is the land. So the land is for one family, one terrace, and a terrace under it for another family. So when we talk about boundaries and land rights, this becomes very complicated to do across global borders and especially across small village borders. As you can imagine, the land had not been touched for about 50 years. So when I entered, the trees had such an overgrowth that Allah, which is like kind of berry vine, was growing on top of all of the trees and all of the grape vineyards. And of course, as an environmentalist and an ecologist, it was imperative to not cut trees, but you know, in restoring land, you have to also cut trees. So we had to clear the way, open the paveways, and it was a very long process. So I'll show you some photos of the journey, finding the 150-year-old grape vineyards, bringing in compost, working on the soil, as Omar said, restoring the terraces as many had fallen, clearing the waterways. So we had the ditches that were falling onto stairways that you couldn't even enter. We had the birke, which is like a watershed that you had to restore to be able to collect your rainwater and collect your spring water so you can irrigate the land. So these are the two that we had to reform. And then this is the drinking naba that I have many great memories with my grandfather drinking water from. And so these three sources of water, four really, have turns. So not only are you sharing the land, but you're also sharing who has access to water at what time, and most often it's at 3 a.m. So if you really want your water, you have to be there at 3 a.m. and to take your turn. So here it was a journey of trying to optimize water so that we could not waste a single centimeter of the water that we had access to. And after restoring the land, we could put up the irrigation and start preparing the terraces so that we can start planting. So that was a huge victory. And often we were, trying to find ways to eat on the land. And here are photos of what we did with heirloom seeds. So we worked with Buzurna Jazurna, who, as many of you, the regional partners here have worked with their ancestral heirloom seeds, and it was a great opportunity for us to try about 15 different varieties of tomatoes and about 5 varieties of peppers. Here are some very interesting kind of showing the different methods of how to restore land versus kind of appreciating the natural flora. So oftentimes, as you see here on the left, the wild rose, so many farmers would tell me, remove it, it's in the middle of all of your terraces, it's going to be a big problem. And we salvaged each and every one of them. And we had the St. John's across multiple terraces. So we were really lucky to be able to find like ancestral allies that were with us on this land, and to work with them with natural amendments. This is from our harvest of the sorry, my dog, of the walnut tree. And the next photo here is how we're doing companion planting with the tomatoes. Here I'm going to start showing photos of how we participated in some training to give to the villagers along with our workers and skilled laborers. I'm trying to see if maybe my screen is hiding this. One moment. Can everyone see the screen fine? Okay. So here we had 2 consultants to come and give training to help our laborers and farmers to participate with using natural amendments, not spraying, not using any chemicals, and bringing in water tanks and this whole process. And finally, we were able to harvest and sell to market. So these are all of the different varieties we had of tomatoes, and I don't have a car, so I'd have to borrow a car and try to put it, to market and sell them. And it was really an adventure. And you don't get a lot for selling your tomatoes, so it's not the right business model at all. But it's about sharing, kind of pesticide-free tomatoes and vegetables for the farmers, who many of them have cancer, and they'd say, oh, your products don't work here. And I'd say, listen, it's the same price. I'm not selling them at any price higher than the produce here. They said, yeah, but people won't understand it. I said, they don't need to understand it. You just put it next to each other with the same price. And all you need to tell them is that there's no balakimewe. So everyone who's fighting cancer or afraid to get cancer, if they know that they have access to natural produce, then it's at the same affordable price, and it doesn't taste like sewage water, and it doesn't not have a taste. It actually has a multitude of flavors. So that was a very interesting adventure. And of course, we then went into preserving the remainings of the harvest and trying to do it by hand, and then eventually going and doing it in the makana, because I think on one harvest alone I had like over 150 kilos to make rib al-banadura. So the tomato paste was just overflowing in abundance. So this is, you know, a lot about preserving our heritage, our access to food security. And what we offer then as part of our other programs is the Eco Souk. This is our store in Beirut, where then we can sell the produce and kind of continue this access to job security, increasing job skills for the farmers that we do train. And then for any participants that do participate in our training and they want to sell and make produce, then they can obviously sell it in our shop. And once we finish with the construction up in the first part that I showed you, then we'll be opening the maker space, which we have 2 residencies already booked for 2024. And it's to really work with the youth and develop alternatives to single-use plastic, to chemical products, and to create what are these bio alternatives? What can we grow from the land to create alternatives, packaging, and materials that we use in our everyday life?
Yes.
So we
Thank
have
you.
an example now with a refill bar, and we hope that by 2024 we'll have a lab where we can actually make these alternatives on the ground.
Yes, thank you, Jocelyn. Very interesting and beautiful, and I'm also glad that you find your path, let's say, and your passion. It looks like you're talking about it with a lot of passion and love. So I'm happy that you're doing what you love. And now I would like to invite people, if they have any question or comment, please be brief. You can also put it in the chat box. Yeah, if not, then we have like one question to our speakers. Maybe start with Omar. Omar, what do you want us in Europe to understand about your project, or in general about agriculture, food sovereignty in Marrakesh? Very briefly, please.
Yeah, thanks for the great presentations. So happy to reconnect again. So inspiring. What I'd like to tell people in Europe, I'm not sure. I mean, I hear people in Germany and Switzerland complaining about droughts, and maybe they could learn something from us, because if we had just like 1/10 of the water they have, like we could create paradise. So I never understand how the Swiss or the Germans can you know, maybe they just need to install more ponds and water harvesting facilities. But yeah, it's just kind of the same feeling like the Moors when they went to Al-Andalus. Like for them, like coming from a desert perspective, like it was just paradise. So they knew the value of water. So alhamdulillah, I think we're doing great, and we're preparing for you know, things getting worse and worse. And I think it's going to be bad for everybody around the planet.
Yes, thank you, thank you, Omar. And Luay, if you also want to say something about this question, and also my question to you earlier is that how do you experience the interaction from, let's say, political actors in the region or in Palestine with your project, the Youth and Green Voices?
Yeah, maybe that's why I mentioned in my presentation that the policymakers all the time not care about the youth entrepreneurs, and also even about their ideas, because they felt that those youth are crazy people. We don't need to dealing with their projects. But for me, I think as a goal of my network is to start from the scratch, from the bottom. So when we really succeed to involve all of these people, I think the policymaker will adopt. But just one thing to add, during this COP28, and this is maybe the first time in all the COPs before, that the first time that a lot of Arabic governments already involved the young people in their delegation and in the negotiation sessions. And for me, this is really a good succeed for the Arab youth movement, who really try to share their voice and to make it heard by the others. So I think this is what my answer for your question.
Thank you, Luay. And my question to Amna as well is, you talked about like the drought that is severely affecting Tunisia. I wanted to know maybe like what kind of support the farmers get besides, for example, what you're doing, like the bottom-up approach. How are they like facing this drought? How they are producing their crops? What kind of support? Like, are there like state support, international support? If you have a comment.
Yeah, I mean, it's really complicated because let's define what is a farmer. There is peasants who live from the earth, only on producing food, and there are big company investors. So what is going on with the drought now, that okay, there is two main irrigation systems in Tunis: the surface water and we have the underground water. And what are we doing now is like we are stopping to distribute the surface water on the small scale farmers, and we are giving permits to big investors to invest into digging more from the earth more water, in order to do monoculture and intensive agriculture to export it. So what would really be efficient, and this is somehow what the narrative we are working and emphasizing on, is to subsidize and to give access to microfinance, to finance to small scale farmers, to be able to produce water targeted to the Tunisian market, to people to eat, and to be able also to subsidize wheat irrigation in the place of olive trees irrigation, fruits trees irrigation, because I mean it's a matter of access to food. It's a food security thing. We don't have even a food security, not even talking about food sovereignty. And this is that the government doesn't react that much. Yeah, forget to mention the political shift to exist in Tunis now, what it's making everything really, I mean, perturbé, مرتبكة الأشياء.
Thank you.
I mean, government are listening to us, but they are not taking really efficient, radical action that need to be.
I see Jocelyn is also agreeing with you. If you want to say something about it, Jocelyn, or if you also like want to respond to this question, like what do you want us in Europe to learn or understand about agriculture and land in Lebanon?
Corruption is so widespread, and I think I've spoken about it so much in a way that it has never affected me entirely until now, on the development of our project, where even the permitting process is slowed down because they don't want to see growth, even if that growth is supporting the villagers at no cost and providing for them additional monetary and job skill support. There is this culture of corruption that is so deeply rooted. And if our project launches, it's a miracle.
Thank you, Jocelyn. I also agree with you. I'm from Iraq, and I see how politics and corruption is affecting water sector, agriculture sector, and also the response to climate change in general. But I think Silva can also join me that we are very proud that there is young voices from the region are doing like what they can in mainstreaming the restoration of land and agriculture and also bringing awareness about this issue, what they are doing. And I heard from all of you that water is a common threat to all the projects that you are doing, the work you're doing, and you are trying to find resilience because apparently the support is not that much. And even here in the Netherlands, we're trying, like, I think the most thing that we can provide is bringing you to platforms, to international platforms, to talk about your work, and then hopefully from that you will get a bigger support. Thank you very much.
I could just answer the question outside of just corruption. What would really help is support from Europe on projects directly with the people, with the organizations, and not linked only to the governments. There are a lot of organizations that are working on the ground, and support for this type of hands-on activities is where it really matters, instead of the money being funneled across governments and large international organizations.
Yeah, definitely.
Support is really needed,
yeah.
especially for us to be able to help others.
Yeah. Silva, if you want to add something, otherwise, yeah, thank you very much all for joining us. The recording of this session and the others will be available soon. And also there will be an article summarizing all this work. Thank you very much for joining us today. Please be in touch with the platform, the foundation, or also with our great speakers today. And yeah, looking forward also to have this meeting on the ground in the region. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye.